Hi, I'm Sandra. I teach third grade at Riverside Elementary. Babe, I made your favorite breakfast. I called out to James as he rushed down the stairs, looking sharp in his tailored suit. That was how most of our mornings went 2 years ago, me trying to be the perfect wife while juggling my teaching career. You're amazing, honey, but I'm running late. Mom's called an early meeting. He grabbed a piece of toast, kissed my cheek, and headed for the door. That's the third time this week, I muttered, trying to hide my disappointment. You know how it is with a new development project, he called over his shoulder. The Richardson deal is huge. That was my life with James. Everything revolved around the family business and his mother, Barbara. Don't get me wrong, things were amazing at first. He swept me off my feet with a whirlwind romance. But I should have seen the red flags when he needed his mother's approval before proposing. Did you tell your mom about the dinner party on Saturday? I asked one rare, quiet evening. About that, he hesitated. Mom's arranged a business dinner with potential investors. James, we've been planning this for weeks. Lisa's flying in specially. I know, but Mom says this deal could change everything. My sister, Lisa, had warned me from the start. Sandra, she's got him wrapped around her finger. This isn't normal. She's just protective. I defend weakly. Then I got pregnant. That's when Barbara's subtle comments turned into blatant criticism. Darling, are you sure you should be eating that? She'd say during family dinners. We wouldn't want you getting too big. My best friend Sarah would listen to me vent during our lunch breaks. Girl, she's trying to control everything. Did you see how she surprised you with that nursery redesign? Even James's cousin Tom noticed. Barbara's always been intense, but since you got pregnant, she's gone into overdrive. The breaking point came in my 7th month. Barbara suggested we move into her mansion. The baby needs proper care, and this modest house isn't suitable for a Henderson here. This is our home, I protested. Mom's right, Sandra. Think about the baby, James chimed in. I watched heartbroken as my husband transformed into Barbara's yes man. Every decision, from my prenatal vitamins to the nursery walls, required her input. You're lucky to have such an involved mother-in-law, she'd remind me constantly. One evening, during her weekly family dinner, I felt a sharp pain tear through me. James, something's wrong, I said, ripping the edge of Barbara's mahogany dining table. Not now, Sandra. James has the Richardson presentation in an hour, Barbara said without looking up from her tablet. I think I'm in labor. The pain was unbearable. 7 weeks early. James finally looked at me. Mom, I need to take her to the hospital. Barbara's eyes narrowed. Absolutely not. The Richardsons are flying in specifically for this. Do you know how much work I've put into arranging this? James helped me up, actually showing some backbone for once. Mom, my wife is in labor. The drive to the hospital was tense. James kept checking his phone as Barbara bombarded him with messages. I tried to breathe through the contractions when his phone rang on speaker. James Henderson, if you don't turn around right now, you can kiss your position goodbye. Everything you've worked for gone. I'll write you out of everything. Mom, please. Choose James, right now, your inheritance or her drama. You know she's probably faking it anyway. I couldn't believe what happened next. James pulled into the hospital drop-off zone and stopped. I'm sorry, Sandra. Mom's right. This is millions we're talking about. Sarah and Lisa are on their way. I'll be back as soon as I can. Are you serious, James? I gasped, another contraction hitting me like a tidal wave. But he was already driving away. Sarah found me crumpled at the entrance. Oh my God, Sandra. Where's James? He left, I stammered, tears streaming down my face. He actually left me here. The next 20 hours were hell. Lisa arrived just as complications started. Her blood pressure's dropping. A nurse called out. We need to prep for an emergency C-section. Keep trying, James, I begged Sarah between agonizing contractions. Straight to voicemail, she muttered, her face pale. But Tom just texted. James is actually doing the presentation right now. Lisa was livid. That spineless coward. I'm going to destroy him in the divorce. The complications kept piling up. The baby's heart rate wasn't stable, and the pain was unbearable. Sandra, we need to make a decision about the procedure, the doctor said urgently. Where's her husband? Someone asked. He's not coming, Lisa snapped, gripping my hand tightly. I'm her sister. I'll sign whatever you need. As I labored, Sarah's phone buzzed with updates from Tom. Barbara's parroting James around like nothing's wrong. She spat, disgusted. She's introducing him to investors, champagne in hand. I can't watch this anymore. Hours of surgery blurred into chaos. The medical team's voices felt distant. Blood pressure still unstable. Need more units of blood. Baby's in distress. Finally, at 3:47 a.m., my daughter, Emma, was born. Despite everything, she was perfect, a 6-pound fighter. James showed up the next afternoon, wearing the same suit and reeking of champagne. The meeting went amazing, he announced, oblivious. Mom says, "Get out." Lisa's voice cut through the room like a knife. She stepped between us. "Get out before I call security." "But I'm the father." "The father?" Lisa snarled. "Where were you when she needed emergency surgery? When they couldn't stop the bleeding? When your daughter took her first breath? You were playing puppet to Mommy Dearest." Tom appeared in the doorway, his face grim. "James, man, what you did. I watched Barbara manipulate you all night. But this was your choice." "You don't understand," James stammered. "The deal was worth less than your wife and child," Sarah interrupted, cradling Emma protectively. I lay there silently, watching the man I once loved stammer excuses. He was gone, destroyed by his mother's control, choosing money over his family. "Barbara says she'll come visit when it's convenient," James offered weakly. "Tell Barbara," I croaked, my voice hoarse but steady, "that she'll never see her granddaughter. Ever. And you? We're done." The look of confusion on his face said it all. He still didn't understand what he'd done. His mother's grip on him was complete. As he left, Tom lingered. "Sandra, I'm so sorry. I saw it all, the things Barbara said, how she played him." The days after were a blur of pain meds, breastfeeding struggles, and unwanted visitors. James popped in occasionally, always with his mother's designer gift baskets and rehearsed excuses. "Mom says you're probably too tired for long visits anyway," he said once. "The investors are still in town, you understand, right?" When I finally got home, James had already moved his things out. A note on the counter read, "Mom thinks you need space to recover. I'll be staying at the mansion." Sarah brought dinner that night, fury burning in her eyes. "He's telling everyone you kicked him out," she fumed. "Barbara's spreading rumors at the country club about your unstable mental state and concerning behavior." Tom started visiting regularly, bringing disturbing news. "Sandra, you need to know something." James signed over his voting rights to Barbara. She had the papers ready right after he left you at the hospital. He signed everything away. Lisa went into full lawyer mode. "We're documenting everything. Every text, every missed visit, every rumor. I've already frozen your joint accounts and started divorce proceedings." Postpartum depression hit me hard. Some days, getting out of bed felt impossible. But Emma needed me, and my support system pulled me through. "Take a shower," Sarah insisted, cradling Emma. "I've got her." "Eat something," Lisa demanded, bringing soup. "You can't fight Barbara if you're weak." Tom kept bringing more revelations. "She's pushing through shady deals while James is distracted. The board's getting nervous." James visited once more, all apologetic smiles. "Mom says if you agree to counseling, her choice of therapist, of course. Maybe we could work this out. Sandra, be reasonable." "Your mother left me to die in that hospital," I said coldly, "and you chose money over your daughter's life. Get out." He looked baffled, like a puppet with its strings cut. "Mom said you'd be difficult about this," he murmured. That was the moment I knew. I wasn't just fighting for myself anymore. I was fighting for Emma. Barbara Henderson was about to learn that she'd messed with the wrong mother. Looking at my daughter's sleeping face, I made a promise. We would rebuild, we would thrive, and they would regret ever underestimating us. 6 months after Emma's birth, I was finally finding my rhythm. My daughter was thriving, and had returned to teaching part-time. Then Tom showed up at my door, looking nervous. "Sandra, this is bigger than we thought," he said, spreading documents across my kitchen table. Lisa watched Emma as Tom continued. "Barbara's been forging James's signatures on company papers for months." "But that's just the start," Tom said grimly, spreading more documents on the table. "Those luxury properties Barbara's been bragging about, they're fake. She's running a massive Ponzi scheme, using new investor money to pay off the old ones." Days later, Sarah burst through my door, out of breath. "Sandra, It gets worse. I looked up from feeding Emma, my stomach tightening. What now? I was having drinks with Barbara's secretary, she said, her voice low and urgent. She's been blackmailing half the family. Even Tom's dad. She's got dirt on everyone to keep them quiet about the business. The dominoes started falling fast. Tom, quietly gathering evidence, chose the perfect moment to leak everything during a massive development meeting. The FBI stormed the Henderson offices within hours. They're going through everything, Tom texted. James is trying to take the blame, but he's making rookie mistakes in his lies. He can't even explain basic details about deals with his signature on them. I watched it all unfold on TV. Henderson real estate empire caught in massive investment fraud. The next day, Barbara was stopped at the airport, trying to board a private jet with suitcases of cash and fake passports. My mother just tried to frame me for everything. James's voice echoed through the precinct as Barbara was escorted in, handcuffed. All those papers you made me sign, he shouted. Oh, darling, Barbara sneered, her eyes cold. You were always too stupid to run the company anyway. The headlines kept rolling. Henderson matriarch faces 15 years. Investors sue for millions. Henderson empire crumbles. Family bankrupt. While the world dissected the scandal, I focused on building something real. My tutoring center, Little Scholars, became my sanctuary, a place of healing. Emma grew up surrounded by books, love, and people who truly cared. Months later, a video message from James appeared in my inbox. Gone were the designer suits. He wore a car salesman's uniform, his eyes hollow. Sandra, please, I see it all now, he began. Mom controlled everything. I lost myself. Please, let me be part of Emma's life. I deleted the message. That night, while reading Emma her bedtime story, my phone buzzed again with breaking news. Barbara Henderson sentenced to 15 years. James Henderson barred from financial industry for life. Once upon a time, I told Emma, closing her favorite book, there was a princess who thought she needed a prince. But she learned that the strongest love is choosing herself and her baby over people who hurt her, and she lived happily ever after without them. Emma drifted off to sleep, peaceful and secure. Her world would never have room for toxic love or manipulation. The headlines would fade. Barbara would serve her time. James would live with his regrets in Nevada. But Emma and I, we were thriving. Our little family, me, Lisa, Sarah, Tom, and Emma, was built on love and truth. No manipulation. No control. Sometimes the happy ending isn't what you planned. Sometimes it's better. Because sometimes the princess doesn't need saving, she saves herself. And that's the story I'll make sure Emma always knows. Now, I have a question for you. What would you do if someone you love deeply had been manipulated their entire life? Would you wait and try to help them break free, or would you protect yourself and walk away like I did? I still wonder if I could have saved James from his mother's grip. But at what cost to Emma and to myself? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's talk about toxic family dynamics and where we draw the line between helping someone and protecting ourselves. If you want to hear more real stories about overcoming toxic relationships and finding your strength, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Your support means everything. Stay strong.